Some people pick by colors, some people flip a coin, other people throw darts at a wall. I like to use my head. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but we're going to give it a shot. Here's my bracket for this year's NCAA men's basketball tournament. We're going to start over here in the Midwest region with the top overall seed, Kentucky. Kentucky, as you may know, has not lost a game this year, and it's certainly not going to happen in the first round. They're going to continue to move on. If we keep going, the 5-12 matchup, I got to see Buffalo and former Duke basketball player Bobby Hurley, who's their head coach. I got to see him play Binghamton this year. They were very impressive, not only against the Bearcats, but against most of their competition this year. They won the MAC Conference tournament, and they're going to knock off West Virginia in a 5-12 matchup. You can mark that down in your bracket. And so if we go to the bottom part of this bracket, I really like Notre Dame. They're getting hot at the right point of the year, and they're going to move on to face Kentucky in the Elite Eight. But that's where the run for the Irish ends. Kentucky is going to get back to the Final Four out of this region. This is an interesting matchup. Providence out of the Big East. Binghamton actually gave Providence a bit of a run this year at Providence, gave them a run in the second half. They didn't impress me all that much throughout the entire season. Dayton gets to play at Dayton at home in the first four. I think they're going to beat Boise State there. And then they get to play in Columbus against Providence. It's only about an hour away from their hometown. So I like Dayton to move on, not Boise. Dayton to move on and beat Providence. And then also a little bit of an upset special here. I like the Great Danes of Albany out of the America East to knock off 3-seed Oklahoma. Peter Hooley's story is just too good to be true, and it's going to continue on at least one more game as the 14-seeded Great Danes mark it down. They're going to knock off Oklahoma. As we get into the Sweet 16 here, I like Villanova to get into the Elite Eight. Once again, these games will be played in Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. And I like Virginia just because of how familiar. They won a game in Syracuse this year. They beat Syracuse in the Carrier Dome. So that should certainly help them in their comfort level getting to the Sweet 16 in the Elite Eights. And here in the Elite Eights, I like Virginia. I'm sorry, Villanova coach Jay Wright. I went to his basketball camp growing up. I grew up around Villanova, but as the Cavaliers as the 2 seed, they probably could have been a 1 seed. I got the Cavaliers going to the Final Four. Now, if we pick things up in the South region, that's where we find the top seed, Duke, out of the ACC. They beat my alma mater in Syracuse twice this year. Duke's going to at least get by the 1-16 matchup. Here, St. John's missing one of their best players because he's suspended 2 weeks, so I like San Diego State to move on in that 8-9 matchup. Georgetown, Eastern Washington. As a Syracuse fan, I'm not a big fan of Georgetown. And Georgetown has not had a lot of success in the NCAA tournament as of late, so I'm going to go with an upset pick. We're going to get Eastern Washington knocking off the Hoyas in the round of 64. Not many people are picking it, but I just can't pick Georgetown. So here we are in the Sweet 16. We got a Duke, Utah, Iowa State, Gonzaga. I like Duke to continue on here. And I like Iowa State to pull off the upset over the Zags. A lot of people have Gonzaga maybe even going to the Final Four. I think Iowa State's battle-tested, a little bit more battle-tested than Gonzaga was throughout the second part of the year. So I like Iowa State with a little upset special there. In the Elite Eights, I think Iowa State, in a big surprise, is going to knock off Duke. So Iowa State is going to the Final Four. We got one more region to go here. We're going to go down to the west where we find Wisconsin as our number 1 seed. There's not going to be a year where the 16 beats the 1. We're going to have Wisconsin moving on. And then moving on to the Final Four, I got the Badgers going on to get a chance to knock off Kentucky. All right, so here we are. We've got our Final Four: Kentucky, Wisconsin, Virginia, and Iowa State. Let's get it in nice and close. Kentucky, Wisconsin may be one of the best games of the entire season. It's one of the games many people thought before the brackets released may be a national championship type game because they have been pretty much 2 of the best teams in the country all season long. But Kentucky and the Wildcats are going to move on and get to their 2nd straight championship game. On the other side, Virginia and Iowa State, a couple of surprises to get to the Final Four, at least especially for Iowa State. I like the Cavaliers. My cousin went to Virginia. They're also orange. We'll go with the Syracuse theme. So we got a championship game between Kentucky and Virginia. Interesting matchup here because you got the defense that Virginia plays. They've got a good amount of size against Kentucky and all that length and all that depth, but nobody's beaten Kentucky this year. The Wildcats are going to win the national championship and go undefeated on the season. So that's it. That's the Travis Eldridge bracket. Take and do with it what you want.